Hi there, and welcome to Nocturnal Transmission. I'm your host, Ryan Kerr, and for this episode, we are going all the way to Warsaw, Poland, where we will talk with my dear friend Przemek Krynski, who is going to tell us why 2020 was his best year ever, and how his decision to leave Warsaw helped him stay and become an LGBTQ activist. So, buckle up and listen to this interview, which I was delighted to do between Christmas and New Year's of 2020. And we'll get a sense of what life is like for a queer man in Warsaw, and also a little bit of Przemek's personal journey. Thanks for listening, and here we go. Hi, Przemek.
Hi, Ryan.
How are you?
Good, thank you. At my parents now, because we have the Christmas time
Yes.
in Poland, so it's big.
Yeah, so you're there for the holidays. How long are you there?
Oh, I'm kind of like every day because they live like 20 minutes by car from me, so and free food. So
yeah, I was gonna say you go for the food. Who is a better cook, do you think? Is it you or your parents?
My mother is the best cook.
Yeah. Okay, well, it would be very nice to try some of her cooking next time I visit, I think.
Okay. You're welcome.
Okay, that sounds nice. I like inviting myself over to people's parents' houses. I like doing a lot of weird things.
I think I can send you some kind of pierogi or something like that.
Oh, that would be very good. That would be very good. When I was in Warsaw and you were my host, aside from walking so much that I got blisters on my feet every day, you took me to some really great restaurants. The food is so good. It was so good. Yeah. Yes.
It's so fat, so it should be good.
So
Polish food is really fat, so that's why it's good.
It's really tasty. So you're in. Are your parents in Warsaw?
Yeah.
Okay. So and you also live in Warsaw. And sorry?
Born and raised here.
I was gonna say born and raised in Warsaw, and but you love traveling.
Yeah, I used to travel a lot.
Yes, a lot. You used to travel like almost every weekend. You would go somewhere.
No, maybe not every weekend, but like every month.
What are some of the favorite places you visited?
In Europe, it's really, really easy, to travel.
Yes.
Because the locust airlines and everything is closed, blah, blah, blah. And in European Union, it's not a problem with borders, visas, etc.
Yes. And so, your partner lives in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So you travel even to see him.
Yeah, a lot. Usually every second month. I used to go to Amsterdam like every 2 months.
Every 2 months. But so when was the last time you saw him, though?
Oh, like 2 weeks ago, because he came here to Warsaw.
Okay, so that's good. So you haven't not been able to see each other at all because of COVID?
No. Maybe it's not so easy like before COVID, but still we can. Oh my God, I think I have a bad connection. Sorry.
So we met a long time ago in Toronto, and you were traveling, and you were doing this. You were doing an English course in Toronto, and you were riding your bike everywhere. And and I remember thinking, this guy's a very cool, very open, very brave person. And when I went to visit you in Warsaw in 2017, which was a long time ago now, you struck me as living a very different life at home than you lived abroad. And I think we had a conversation about how when you travel, you can be a different person because you are meeting new people and everything is exciting and fresh. But at home, it's different. And when I visited you, I was surprised to find out that you were not out about your gayness. You weren't open about being gay. And there were like there were things about Warsaw that made you a little bit more private. Why do you think that was?
Um, why? First thing, like the whole situation in Poland in general, you cannot be openly gay in Poland. Like, oh, okay, you can be in big cities, but it's not like in the Western Europe. Especially, I think when you are like maybe when for young people now, it's a different story. If you are now 20 or 25, people are more open. They want to have more than. I don't want to say I'm like the old generation, but I
No,
still
you're like not that. You're like, what are you, 35?
four.
You're
Not so
40?
old.
Really?
30.
34. Yeah. Okay. See?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but still, it's like I grew up in 90s in Poland and the beginning of 2000s, so this background it's still inside me because in 2005 when I in high school when I tried to came out to my parents, oh my god, it was like the nightmare for me. So I decided to tell them, oh, okay, I'm not gay. It was like just this kind of teenager thing you have, etc. So, and I'm from a very conservative family. My parents are really religious, so it was another problem for them. So maybe because of that, in Warsaw, I feel home. So this all things I have inside me is like more real. When I travel, it used to be like more like, oh, I don't have to care about my parents or I don't know the friends of my parents, my friends from childhood, my co-workers, etc. So
right. So
even if Warsaw is a big city, it's like 2 million inhabitants, but still you can meet your coworker, friend of your parents like everywhere.
Yes.
And
when you visited me in Toronto, I think I bumped into someone I knew every single day on the street. So I
exactly.
Yeah. But I remember when I went to visit you and I think I was like, well, what should I wear? And what I was asking you was, what's the weather like in Warsaw in the summer? And I remember you saying, don't bring any bright colors. If you're gonna wear it, you told me to bring like t-shirts that were black or gray. Don't bring any colors. Don't bring things with unicorns on them, because of course you knew that I have things with unicorns on them. And I remember thinking that was really strange. And I had this bright pink wallet, and I decided not to bring it on the trip because I didn't want people to like I'd never visited a place in that point in my life where I was so warned, by someone who lived there to like try to keep some of my shiny self tucked away.
Yeah, because even it was like 2 months ago, one guy he wanted to pay by credit card.
Yeah,
I think it was like this Revolut LGBT plus card, so with the rainbow colors.
Okay.
And the girl from the store, she said like, no, you can pay by this card. You cannot pay by this card because it's like this LGBT thing. So, so it's the one thing that I heard since this kind of situation somebody had. And another thing, in Poland, everyone speaks Polish, so you hear everything. So even if somebody says some kind of comments for you,
yes,
you hear that, you don't understand that. But
no
for me,
idea.
it's like, and another thing, I had chat about it with my friend about hands on the street with two guys. If you are
holding hands on the street.
Yeah, holding hands. So, okay, maybe we can do that in Poland, but it's so deep inside us that we cannot do that because it can be dangerous, so we don't do that. So I don't know if you understand the situation. Like, maybe we can do that, but we think a lot of maybe it's dangerous, blah blah blah. So we don't want to do that. So even we don't think about to do this kind of things.
Right.
When you are, but I have friends who are like 20, 25.
Yeah.
Things, their way of thinking is completely different than I have. So for them, like, not a problem. I don't have a problem that someone will think something like, okay. But it's really, in me, it's really deep inside me that maybe someone will know.
Right.
But on another hand, now the political situation in Poland, the politicians are really homophobic.
Right.
The Minister of Education is really homophobic. He public TV station like them, they have a lot of homophobic speech during the daily news. So you can feel this kind of homophobic vibes in even more now than 3 years ago.
Right. When I visited. So in some ways it's getting even more difficult to be open about being gay. Than
yes, but the funny situation is that for me, it helps to be more open.
Yes, I want to talk about that.
Because of course I can go to Amsterdam, I can move to Amsterdam to live with my boyfriend, but even I had this kind of plan after the presidential election half a year ago. But I decided, oh no, I cannot leave my city, my country without any fights. So I decided, okay, fuck you all. I am who I am. So, and I started to, be myself, like open myself, like to don't be afraid to what somebody will think about me. Like, okay, I don't care that. I don't have any possibility to change their mind. So I don't give a shit about what they say or they think and etc. So.
But that's so brave. I mean, a lot of people, if they were in a situation that was increasingly unsafe and hostile, they would close and pack their stuff and leave town. And you said, no, I'm in response to this. You're going to open up more and you're going to stay. Put your plant roots and like commit to staying. How did that happen? Because I think, because you and I are friends on Facebook, and there was a turning point. I think there was a pride parade. It was in Bialystok, and so there was like a violent response to a pride parade, and I think, was that a turning point for you when you decided like, I'm gonna fight?
It was one of the points, because it's not in my case. It's not the only one point. The situation in Białystok, it was 2019.
Okay.
In August 2019, during the Pride over there, was a big manifestation of they're not only they're like not. It's kind of Nazi party or something like that, because this is like they are not only homophobic, they are xenophobic, they are
all kinds of bad.
Thing that, yeah, and they attacked this parade. Like, it was really, really bad. I was crying by the whole of the night. Like, in the middle of the night, I started crying, and I decided, okay, I fuck it. Like, I make it was very modern, because I make a post on Facebook then on Facebook I have my parents, my family, etc. with this coming out statement that fuck, I don't want to live in this kind of country when I can be myself, blah blah blah. So, because I was dancing in the club this night when this kind of situation was in Białystok, And my friend hit back from Belarus, and then he started, and he told me that how it was, etc. So it was like, oh my God, we are in the middle of the European Union. Okay, I'm in big city, so I can be open in some kind of gay club, but I cannot be open outside. So it's so stupid. I was so sad and frustrated. So I decided, to say, okay,
Wow.
fuck you all. And it was funny because a lot of members of my family, they text me with really good messages. So
Wow.
it was good. So
And
so it was the first step. Oh, okay, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe they are not so. Maybe they way of thinking not so bad. I was thinking it is.
Right.
And the second thing was this presidential election last year. This year still, because the 2020.
Yes, we're still in 2020. Although this episode will be aired in 2021, so we can be hopeful that by the time people see this episode, it's a whole different feeling, a different year.
Hope so. So
carry on.
So after this election, I decided, okay, I have nothing to lose because of the COVID situation, I didn't have work and I wanted to move to Amsterdam. So after elections, I decided to buy tickets to Amsterdam. So I had 2 weeks to stay in Poland. So I decided, okay, fuck it. I have nothing to lose. I will stand in the front of the presidential palace in center of Warsaw with the rainbow flag and with some kind of small transparent. At the first, it was kind of stressful. But people start to hug me, to say some nice things, etc. So it was like, oh, it's not so bad. Then our society, maybe it's not so bad. I was thinking. So I started to make this kind of protest for every day till I went to Amsterdam.
Wow. So, and that, when was that, in October?
No, it was on July.
Oh, it was in July. Oh, yes. Okay. So
because this presidential election on end of beginning of July.
For some reason, I thought that was in October. I was confused. So the beginning of
October is another situation in Poland.
Okay, well, we'll get there in a second. There's a lot happening for you.
2020 is like crazy. On the one hand, people say like 2020 is the worst year of their life, but for me, it's like one of the best one.
Really?
To be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
So you had bought tickets to Amsterdam, and you were like, I'm leaving. I have nothing left to lose. So you started doing this, and people in general were nice to you. Like, did you go every day for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Did you go the same time every day, or
every day, 10 days, every day for like 7-8 hours?
You just stood outside for 7 and 8 hours with basically a rainbow target on your shoulders.
Yeah.
And you talked to anybody that wanted to talk to you.
Yeah, exactly. Like 70% of response was really positive. Some people just say, oh, hi, or they started to say, you are really brave, blah, blah, blah. And some people start to say, like, thank you for doing that. Because some of them were like this LGBT Q plus people. Mm-hmm. And they start to share with me some kind of story of their life, like really sad stories. Of course, I had some kind of discussion with people that are starting to say that because in Poland, during the campaign, our president started to say LGBT, it's a kind of ideology.
Okay.
and nobody could explain what this ideology is, because something that, but in this political rhetoric, it's like really good to say some kind of things nobody can understand, but it's like and it's too difficult to explain why it's not true.
Yes.
And for people like from countryside, it was like really scary, like, oh, because in Poland, ideology is something really bad, because we had this communist ideology, Nazi ideology. So it's when you think about ideology, you start to think about Hitler's Nazi ideology or communist Lenin's, etc. This kind of thing. Wow. So LGBT ideology is another ideology which wants to destroy Polish traditional families, etc. So.
Well, I mean, you're doing a good job because you have 2 dogs.
I started to explain people that this kind of ideology doesn't exist.
Right.
So I had a lot of conversation and even some kind of small debate, because around us were 50 people or something like that.
Wow.
And we had this kind of, and it was like conversation with another guy or girl. So it was really, really amazing that I started to talk with like people, to explain them and to hear what they think about gay people.
Yeah.
And sometimes like really surprising that they think this kind of things. So it's like, no, it's not true. So I have this small space to explain who I am.
Yes.
And what queer people are.
Yes.
And what politicians say is wrong. So even if I, it was my small protest, so it wasn't like a big thing. And now it's not like 70% people in Poland are like supporters of gay people.
Sure.
But for me, success for like if one person per day started to think and on another way than before. So it was like.
So you're standing outside. You've got a rainbow flag on your shoulder. Are you holding a sign that says something like, what does the sign say?
It was, I don't remember, because during the election evening.
Yes.
After first results, daughter of our president, she had a speech.
Okay.
She started to say things like, "Oh, my father is a great man. He's like, he loves people, blah blah blah." And she started to say things like, "Don't be afraid who you are. Don't to love who you want to love, blah blah blah." So it was like, "Oh my God, where have you been during the last few months when your father says a lot of homophobic things, a lot of things against this political opponents, about people from big cities, because it wasn't only about LGBTQ plus people. It was more about the campaign was full of hate speech in general. So I had this transparent with Kinga, because her name is Kinga. It was something like, that's your father spread the hate and fearness, or something like that.
So you had this written on a sign. Dear Kinga, your father is spreading hate, on a sign. In public with a rainbow flag on your shoulders. In front of the presidential palace in Warsaw.
Yeah, exactly.
Przemek, that is terrifying.
Of course, I knew that she want to see that, but for me it was like more, to have this conversation with people, because, okay, I could stand there with rainbow flag, so what else? Nothing, because people want to talk with you if you have some kind of transparent to say, oh, I agree with that or I don't agree. So if I have this really personal transparent to, so people start to say, oh, you shouldn't attack the daughter of president because she's just a baby. But she's not a baby. She's 26 and she's a lawyer. So she's an adult,
Yep.
I think quite intelligent girl. So come on. But it was a good start up for discussion for the other things. So
Wow.
and exactly, like the first day was like stressful, but on the other hand, it is a downtown of, it's the city center of Warsaw with few postmen around me, with some kind of guards of the presidential part. So it's not so dangerous place to, to make this kind of things.
Wow. And then every day you would go home and you would post something on Facebook, right? About what happened that day?
No, not this time.
Oh, okay.
Because it was my first protest. After that, I went to Amsterdam for a few weeks. But for my work, they called me that, we will back to work on October. So I had to back to Warsaw. So I had two more weeks before I started work.
Yeah.
No, it was September because it was end of the August.
Okay.
So because on the beginning of August, one of LGBT activities was arrested because
an organizer of like a protest organizer.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Because she put rainbow flag on few statues in Warsaw, on statue of Copernicus, Warsaw Mermaid, and Jesus Christ in the front of the one of the church. So it was like, oh my God, queer people attacked Polish church, blah, blah, blah. But it was only a rainbow flag on the statue. And it was not because they want to, destroy this monument, or they want or destroy the church or institution of the church. It was more the action because this homophobic speech started, like the church, the institution of the church started to make homophobic speech as well. So it was kind of the reaction of this kind of things, and still in Poland, Catholic Church is still really strong. So it's a big institution with many influence. So, and come on, like, what can do rainbow flag on the statue of Jesus? Nothing.
Well, and there are a lot of Christian people that I know who would say that Jesus would have been a fan of being nice to people and loving each other. So it doesn't have to be such a radical idea that Jesus would be accepting.
Yeah. So, but during this kind of, but I want to back to this activities.
Okay.
And he was arrested on the beginning of August.
Okay.
And with her, they arrested like around 50 people because they started to protest. So I was in Amsterdam during that. So oh no. So what can I do? So I decided to go to the Hague to stand in the front of the Polish embassy.
The Polish embassy in The Hague. Okay.
So I did a few protests over there. But when I back to the Warsaw, so I decided, okay, I can make my protest again, but this time in the front of this church.
Okay.
So every day I standing with rainbow flag,
yes,
and another transparent in the front of this church. So it was really exciting because over there reaction was completely, maybe not completely different, but still like more than half of the reaction was really good.
Okay.
But the bad reaction was more more extra, like more like people were more aggressive.
Right.
They are starting to, praying in front of me. So it was like, so I decided, okay, I will, because I don't want to forget everything, like may not everything, but some kind of bullet points from every day. So I decided, to post every day what happened.
Wow. So give me an example of something that happened during one of those protests that really stuck with you.
Oh, two things. First, Sunday, because like during the weekdays, it was like some people were walking around and start talking. So I had small discussion with some of them. I met my best friends now, Kasia. She's like retired, 65 years old, brave lady, and she processed a lot. She's like quite famous now because of that. But during the first Sunday of my protesting in the front of the church, around me were like 80, 90 people.
Wow.
And they talking to each other, like not only with me,
yes.
But there were some, I don't know, 10 groups. So for me, it was like, oh my God. So something new is happening. Like people started talking, of course, some of them were aggressive from both sides.
Yes.
Because the whole situation was really, really hot in Poland.
Wow.
So, but in this discussion where, I don't know if you ever heard about this organization for Brazil, Ordo Iuris and TFP. This is a really right Christian organization.
In Poland.
They have a lot of money. And not only in Poland, they are in Brazil, in Mexico, in Poland, in France, in Central Europe, like in Slovakia, Hungary, Croatia. So they want to make a change the law in many countries and make really tradition models of families where guys, this traditional man who works, etc.
Like big and strong and manly.
And women, they have to, they have babies and that's all. So this kind of, so it's not a space for like independent girls, gay people.
And anyone who is born with ideas of what they want to be, they don't belong in the TFP.
Yeah. So after that Sunday, they start to praying in front of me.
Oh.
With signs, because they have nothing to say. Because when they start to discuss, people start to say, "No, that's bullshit. What you say. It's not that. It's nothing close to what Catholic Church says now. Like it's
oh wow.
So, but you cannot discuss when some people pray. They have this Rosario things. So since Monday after the Sunday, they're started to pray in front of me with some kind of transparency.
Wow.
And and a few days later, they have this group of old ladies around them.
Yes.
And this old lady started, to line cross in front of me.
Okay.
On the floor. So it was like, oh my God, I don't want to be a part of this kind of thing. So it was, because it was ridiculous. People start to, to make laughs of them, but another people start to be aggressive because they started to say that I provoked these people to, and I, because they are prey, so I cannot be there, but they don't care that I started to protest there before they start praying. So it was like,
oh. So, and you just stood there quiet.
Because it was like, I have some videos I can send you. So
Yeah.
so I went so I went to the priest from this church to say what is happening in the front of his church. Maybe you can help me, because I'm not the person who is like against Catholic Church. Because if you want to believe in Jesus and what Pope says and priest, it's your choice.
Sure.
Like, I have nothing to do with that. But on the other hand, I don't know to be a part of people who, to make laughs of this kind of things, because it's not my cup of tea.
Right.
But I went to this guy, to this priest, and he didn't give a shit about it. So it was like, seriously, like, you are agree that this kind of things can happen in the front of the church, that people pretending they are praying, they use religion to bad things. It's like, come on.
So how many days were you in front of that church?
Around 3 weeks.
Whoa. So every day for 21 days you went there and you just stood with the sign and a rainbow flag.
Yeah.
And wow.
Yeah. One day was like without rainbow flag, to make this kind of experiment.
Yes.
Because people say, oh, you cannot stand here with this rainbow flag because it's the church. So.
Okay. And how did that experiment go?
To be honest, for first 3 hours, nobody wants to talk with me. Like, I was like standing guy who people...
Like you were invisible.
Yeah.
Wow. So so you're not protesting every day still, are you? Or
no. No, because of the weather. And during my August protesting, I met Kasia, this mature lady. I don't know how to call that. Her nice. She's not old. Like, she has more energy than I do. So we make some our actions. Like, for example, today.
Yes.
We put on this pedestrian bridge some kind of transparency.
Okay, like oh, sorry. What are the signs gonna say?
With our wishes for 2021.
Oh, what are your wishes?
Yeah. One thanks to every girl that I wish every girl to have a choice.
Yes.
Another is that every LGBTQ plus person should feel welcome in Poland, because we have this LGBT free zones in Poland.
Yes.
Because some cities, some kind of regions in Poland, they have this kind of statements that are LGBT ideology free or something like that.
Yes.
Of course, it doesn't have this legal power that, okay, LGBT people cannot came here and can live over there. But it's more like, you cannot have this kind of sex education lessons at schools.
Wow.
Because, like, when you are a teacher, like the city hall pay for your salary.
Yes.
So, okay, I'm in this kind of city where it's like this kind of LGBT free, ideology free zone. So maybe I will not talk about this kind of things like what is the sex orientation, blah, blah, blah.
So it's like a whole city. It's not just a neighborhood. It's like an entire city says.
It's an entire city, and the whole region even. Because in Poland we have 16 regions, like Warsaw is the capital of the Mazowsze. So I know, like, Małopolska is where Kraków is. Yes. The whole region is like this big LGBT free zone. Of course, they are saying that the politicians that, oh, it's not against the people, it's against the ideology. It's because we want to protect families, etc. But on the other hand, if they want to protect families, well, this is good because I think we should protect families. So why then don't have programs like against the domestic violence, alcohol problems, about education discrimination, because some people, they don't have enough money to have like private lessons,
Sure.
or this kind of things. They do nothing about this kind of. So if you want to protect families, so I think in Poland, families, they have more problems that the gay people are not a problem for.
Right, for families. Yeah.
Families. And another thing, in Poland, we have this 50,000 kids in rainbow families, like with two mothers, or
Yeah.
there are still families. So
Wow. So, and Krakow, you love Krakow.
I'm more fan of Łódź.
Well, is Łódź an LGBT zone, free zone as well?
Kraków and Łódź are not, like the cities, but the authorities of the region,
yes,
they declare there are LGBT free zones. So the Łódzkie region and Małopolskie, where Kraków is, there are LGBT free zones.
Wow. And so you'll see like stickers in store windows and things that'll have like a rainbow flag with like a slash through it or something that says you can't.
It was one newspaper which made this kind of stickers 1 year ago.
And people put them up.
Yeah, and another, but there's a lot of. I can send you some kind of information because some people makes a really good thing. They put all information about this kind of things. Because it's not only this, because our Minister of Justice, they say, oh, if some kind of, I don't know, if you want to print something in some kind of office, like, and pay them, they can say, oh, it's like for LGBT organization, I don't have to, I don't want to print that.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, so it's like it's not the conversation for 5 minutes. It's like
okay. Wow. Okay. Well, part two of your interview, because we've already been talking for a while, and I want you to stay my friend after this, so I don't want to wear you out completely. So I guess my last question is just, I mean, you're at your parents' house. How have they handled you protesting and your coming out and?
I think it's even better than before the whole things. Maybe because now I'm more stronger and I can say when they ask me something, I can be open with them. I don't be afraid, and I don't give a shit if they will make this kind of faces or. It's my life, not theirs life. And another thing is that I used to hide a lot of things, like the 80% of my life.
Right.
So during every visit at their place, I have to think a lot with this small lies, to not say something, to blah, blah, blah. And now I don't have to think about this kind of things. So I'm more relaxed and etc. So, and even I think I am the person who said them, okay, if you don't want to talk about this kind of thing, we don't have to. We can choose another topic which is good for both of us. So,
wow.
So I think because our relations are better.
And are they?
Of course, maybe they want to another life for me, but it's my life, not them. But I think they feel I'm more happy now and more open. So maybe they start thinking, oh, it's good for us as well.
Do you think they're proud of you?
I think my father is proud, and he started to be supporter of my protests. So yes, my mother is more like she's afraid because still my face is okay, but she heard a lot of stories about people who was punched on the faces or
right.
something.
So she's just afraid for your safety. She doesn't want you to get hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's like an international rule for all mothers, that they fear for their child's safety. But I mean, and I worry for your safety too, but I'm also super proud of you. I can't believe some of the things that you're doing, and I can't understand fully what it's like to live in your shoes and in the situation that you're in. But I know that if I were to apply some of what you told me to the way that I think and feel in Toronto, which is a generally very accepting place, I'm just amazed at what you're doing. And I know that people who listen or watch will be equally impressed with you. And I hope to be able to share some information, some links to some information. So if people would like to learn more, they can. And Przemek, you're doing amazing things. And I wish a 2021 that has your wish list on it, an international wish list of acceptance and love, and continue fighting the good fight.
Thank you.
And as soon as we can travel again, you know, let's meet up.
Yeah, I want to go to Toronto again because it's one of my favorite cities in the whole world.